Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, hear the latest on the Natural Bridge Zoo case and how a 6-day trial determined where all those animals would go. We'll also walk you through how Lexington's businesses are being impacted by inflation and how customers are dealing with higher prices. Looking ahead at President Biden's State of the Union address later tonight, find out what's at stake at this point in the 2024 election.
The American people have spoken. They made clear what we have known for months.
We'll also take you live to Buena Vista with details on the city's newfound financial freedom.
How sweet it is for WNL!
WNL women's basketball team is making history. You'll hear more about the playoff run and where they're off to next. Our Madison Carlin will tell you what's in store for this week's forecast after a historically hot February. All this and more here on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Kaden Buss.
And I'm Judy Gong. The Natural Bridge Zoo is getting 29 animals back that were seized during a state police raid last December, but 71 other animals are not going back to the zoo. A Rockbridge County jury of 4 men and 3 women decided Monday night that the 71 animals had been cruelly treated at the zoo and won't be going back. The State Attorney General's office now wants a judge to allow surprise inspections of the zoo for 5 years. A criminal investigation is ongoing. A hearing is set for April 4th in Rockbridge County Circuit Court.
Plans to renovate the crowded and outdated Rockbridge Regional Jail are back on track. Last December, authorities in neighboring Allegheny County pulled out of its talks to consolidate its jail with Rockbridge County. Rockbridge's jail superintendent, Derek Almerode, says an architect is exploring a new plan. Chaz Chappell reports.
Rockbridge Regional Jail Superintendent Derek Almerode says the Rockbridge Regional Jail is long overdue for a renovation. So is the county sheriff's office, which shares space with the jail. He says it makes sense to do both.
You're going to renovate one portion of the building, but not renovate perhaps another portion, and not provide them more workspace, not provide them capacity to do modern day policing. If we're going to have to do this down the road, what's the smart play?
The jail had a capacity of 56 inmates when it was built in 1987. Over the years, the jail began double bunking when needed. Today, the capacity is 112. 99 of those beds are filled.
This building is doing twice what it was designed to do, and so that's a continual juggling act.
Last year, Rockbridge and Allegheny counties almost made a deal to consolidate their jails. Allegheny County Administrator Reed Walters says it was too expensive. Rockbridge County Supervisor David McDaniel says it would have been $30 to $40 million. Walters says Allegheny County came up with another plan.
Wells Fargo building. It's in Covington, the county bought it. So it's feasible for staff and the sheriff's department to move to Wells Fargo because we can free that space.
Rockbridge County's jail is funded by the county, Lexington, and Buena Vista and overseen by a jail commission. The Jail Commission and the State Department of Corrections would need to sign off on renovations for the jail. The Sheriff's Office would need approval from the County Board of Supervisors. Almerode says the Jail Commission and supervisors must decide by December. He says it's possible that the jail could get renovated and the Sheriff's Office would not, or the other way around.
It will impact everybody because we're literally, I won't say we're out of space, but we are at capacity.
Almerode says construction would not begin for at least another 3 to 4 years. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Chaz Chappell.
Surging food prices are forcing customers to make spending cuts, and small businesses in Lexington are also coping with the effects of inflation. Melissa Mbaye takes us downtown.
Old Lexington mercantile owners Heather and Lee Davis say inflation is taking a toll on their gourmet grocery store. They sell wines, cheeses, and pre-made quiches, among other products. Lee Davis says they can't afford some items that they could a few months ago.
I have to either eliminate that product line completely or find a new vendor to kind of fill that spot. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't.
For example, Davis says they've doubled the prices of some of their products. Their 2.4-ounce brownies used to cost $1.50. Now they cost $3 each. Washington and Lee University economics professor Linda Hooks says higher production costs lead to higher prices.
If it's a very labor-intensive thing to make, then that would cause it to rise more quickly than other items. or maybe it has a very special ingredient or component that's been very hard to get.
We did lose some brownie customers, coincidentally, but people are still coming in.
The Consumer Price Index for food is 2.5% higher than a year ago. Main Street Lexington Executive Director Rebecca Logan says customers feel the pinch in their wallets.
Do you buy fancy prosciutto at a store versus I'm just going to stick with the basic ham, you know? So I think that maybe people are making switches.
Shopper John Curtis says he used to eat out at restaurants at least twice a week. Now he's down to once a month.
They're bleeding people, pockets dry.
Davis says he and his wife can absorb only so much of the costs. They've raised prices on some of their gourmet wines and olive oils. He says customers understand.
They say it all the time. Yes, we know that you're slightly more expensive, but I'm willing to spend an extra 5–10%, an extra $1. And that's okay with me because it keeps money in the community.
Davis says customer shopping small helps keep businesses like his afloat during times of significant inflation. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Mello Sambai.
President Biden's State of the Union address is set for tonight, and it comes the day after the general election matchup was essentially set. The speech is not only a status update on the nation, but also a pivotal moment for Biden's re-election prospects. CNN's Karen Kaifa reports from Capitol Hill.
The White House says President Joe Biden's message to the American people will look back and forward.
You will hear the president lay out the historic achievements he has delivered on for the American people and his vision for the future.
Biden's State of the Union address comes the day after Republicans acknowledged former President Donald Trump as their presumptive nominee for the 2024 presidential election.
It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and beyond it who did not support him.
Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley suspended her bid after a string of Super Tuesday losses, setting the table for another November battle between Biden and Trump. Biden expected to extend a hand tonight to Haley's backers, leaning in particular into overlaps on foreign policy. But he also has work to do within his own party. Progressive Democrats especially unhappy with his handling of the Israel-Hamas conflict abroad. And at home, polls show Americans feeling better about the economy, but Biden not getting credit for it. Plus, questions about the president's age and vitality raising tonight's stakes.
The age of the president's ideas matter. Donald Trump's ideas are from 50 years ago. The president is working to restore Roe versus Wade, to address the existential threat posed by climate change, and to lead our country into the future.
The speech likely one of Biden's biggest audiences of the year, kicking off a nearly 8-month general election battle ahead. On Capitol Hill, I'm Karen Kaifa.
The path is set for a Joe Biden and Donald Trump rematch. Yesterday, Nikki Haley suspended her presidential campaign after winning just one of the 15 Republican contests on Super Tuesday, as the presidential race now focuses on the two frontrunners. Both President Biden and former President Trump face challenges ahead of November. Some House GOP leaders expressed their support for Trump after Haley's exit.
The American people have spoken. They made clear what we have known for months. President Donald J. Trump is our Republican nominee and will be the 47th President of the United States.
The race is set now. It will be a rematch, and we like that rematch. And from my perspective, I think President Trump, what his message is resonating with the American people.
Voters in Richmond were asked about the potential candidates for the 2024 election after Super Tuesday.
I voted for Donald Trump. I'm really excited about what he's doing with the economy. I think it's really going to benefit our country in the next 4 years.
I think it's disappointing. It's a sort of a repeat of 2020. I would love to have had some different candidates. I had hoped that Trump would go away.
Democrats and Republicans will officially select presidential candidates this summer at the party's respective conventions. After the break, we'll take you live to the Vista Links golf course in Buena Vista, where Mackenzie Kane will tell us about Buena Vista's recent stroke of luck.
It's unusually warm weather today in Lexington, but we are looking at a change in the upcoming forecast this weekend. I'm Madison Carlin. I'll have more details for you in my 5-day forecast.
A W&L student is facing a misdemeanor stalking charge. We'll tell you the details. Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. Buena Vista is finally free of crippling debt created by the ill-fated Vista Links golf course. The Rockbridge Report's Mackenzie Kane is live in Buena Vista with details on the city's newfound financial freedom.
Thank you, Caden. I'm here at what used to be the Vista Links golf course that almost bankrupted Buena Vista. Last month's annual audit presentation revealed the city's golf course debt is behind them. The city manager says BV is in its best financial position in over a decade and plans to use this new debt freedom to take out new loans for roads and infrastructure, schools, and the sewer system. Real estate investor and SVU co-founder Glade Knight actually purchased the property in 2022. Though it's unclear what he plans to do with it, he allows the SVU Knights men's and women's golf teams to practice here regularly. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Mackenzie Kane. Back to you in the studio.
Lexington public work officials want to replace and upgrade water and sewer pipes in the Jackson Avenue area starting this summer. The city's water and sewer pipes are more than a century old, but it's impossible to fix them all at once. Instead, the officials identify the oldest and worst pipes and fix them one section of the city at a time, a process the city has continued for the past few years. City Council will decide in the coming weeks whether to approve the proposed $12.3 million project. Go to rockbridgereport.academic.wlu.edu to read the full story. A Washington and Lee student faces a misdemeanor stalking charge filed by another student whom he had dated. The young woman identified him as Brandon Conlian. She said Conlian sent several emails and text messages to her in violation of a no-contact order issued by the university in November. She said in a criminal complaint filed in Rockbridge County District Court that she and her family are terrified. Conlian's lawyer, Neil Wendt, said his client maintains his innocence and that the claims are exaggerated. A hearing is set for March 15th.
A judge set aside a guilty verdict against a former Virginia school system superintendent on Wednesday. Ex-Loudoun County Superintendent Scott Ziegler was convicted for violating the state's conflict of interest laws. He allegedly fired a teacher that had reported that an elementary school student inappropriately touched her. The judge ordered a new trial for Ziegler. A hearing for March 28th was scheduled to set the new trial date. Washington seems on track to avoid a partial government shutdown tomorrow. A funding package is in the Senate today after passing in the House, but a second budget deadline this month could be harder, as Amy Kiley reports.
We are not going to be shutting government down.
That seems to be the case for tomorrow's deadline, but the one on March 22nd could be more challenging.
We can pass them and fund these 6 departments with time to spare before Friday's deadline.
Today, the Senate is taking up a package of 6 spending bills that cleared the House yesterday. They fund the Departments of Commerce, Justice, Veterans Affairs, Interior, Transportation, and more through the end of September. Notably, the House tally for the funding package includes more votes from Democrats than Republicans, despite GOP control of the chamber.
It's going to keep piling up debt. It's going to continue funding policies that are at odds with the American people. It's continuing to fund open borders.
But Senate leaders say they feel confident.
This week, we're going to pass the first of 6 appropriation bills.
Analysts say keeping the rest of the government open past March 22nd could be harder. Party leaders don't yet have an agreement on that package, and it covers the Department of Homeland Security. Impeachment proceedings against its secretary are still in the works.
We're making our best effort to do the other 6 before March 22nd.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The bills to fund federal agencies are more than 5 months past due. The budget year began at the start of October.
Coming up, our Madison Carlin will walk us through local weather after a record-breaking month around the world.
And right after the break, we'll give you the latest on whether or not Washington, D.C.'s NBA and NHL teams will end up in Virginia.
Later in the show, WNL women's basketball keeps dancing. We'll share more about the team's historic run. Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. Governor Glenn Youngkin's plan to lure professional sports teams across the Potomac River looks dim. State Senator Louise Lucas opposed the $2 billion project that would bring the NBA's Washington Wizards and NHL's Washington Capitals to Alexandria. She chairs the Senate Finance and Appropriations Committee. And she said Youngkin's plan could not make it into the spending plan without her support. Delegate Luke Torian confirmed this afternoon that arena-related provisions were removed from legislation.
Sweden's long-held policy of neutrality has come to an end. On Thursday, the Scandinavian nation formally joined the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, better known as NATO. It makes Sweden the 32nd member of NATO. Finland became NATO's 31st member last year. Both countries announced their intention to join the alliance in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Last month was the planet's hottest February on record. That marks the 9th month in a row that global records fell. That's according to new data from Copernicus, the European Union's climate monitoring service. Officially, February was 1.77 degrees Celsius warmer than the average February in pre-industrial times. It also caps off the hottest 12-month period in recorded history at 1.56 Celsius degrees above pre-industrial levels. The director of the Copernicus service said the fall of temperature records isn't surprising given the continuous warming of the climate system. The effort to restrict global heating to below 2 degrees was a centerpiece of the Paris Agreement that most countries signed onto in 2015. It's been t-shirt weather here in Lexington too.
I even got to hang out in front of the colonnade. Will that continue, Madison?
Well, it certainly has been looking like springtime this week with temperatures going up to 70. This warm stretch of weather will be interrupted this weekend as we are expecting some rain. Moving to a live shot of Buena Vista. And let's take a look at today's weather. Much of campus has been enjoying being outside today with a high of 67. Tonight's low is 46. Our barometric pressure today is 29 and 99 inches. Wind speed 7 miles per hour. Humidity is a bit higher at 56%. Let's take a look at our radar map. Yikes, we are seeing some patches of rain coming from the southwest, making their way into the region. Let's take a look at our regional weather today. The rain has not hit us yet, with sunny skies all around. Lexington and Buena Vista 67 and sunny today, with Stanton and Charlottesville following in the high 60s. Lynchburg getting up to 70 today. Covington and Roanoke enjoying this wonderful weather, with Roanoke up to 71. Moving ahead and taking a look at our 5-day forecast. We are expecting some rain over the next couple of days, with temperatures dropping back down to the 40s. Some more cloudy weather this weekend. Early next week, it's clearing up with Monday and Tuesday. Sunny skies coming back and bringing us up into the 60s. Make sure you get outside and take a walk around downtown today. Get ready for some rain this weekend. Back to you, Caden and Judy.
Thanks, Madison. Coming up after the break.
Washington and Lee, for the first time in program history, is going to the Sweet 16. How sweet it is for WNL.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. I heard that the WNL women's basketball team was on fire during Washington break. Were you able to catch any of their games, Caden?
Yeah, I made it out to their big round of 32 win this weekend. What's next for the Lady Generals, Billy?
Yeah, we're witnessing history here in Lexington. After last Saturday, the Washington and Lee women's basketball team defeated Catholic University 80-70 at home to advance to the Sweet 16 for the very first time in program history. Our Mackenzie Kane caught up with the assistant coach, Aaron Hughes, after the big win.
Afternoon, Rockbridge. The Washington and Lee women's basketball team is going where they have never gone before, the NCAA Sweet 16 game. Now, I am joined here by 2021 alum and assistant women's basketball coach, Aaron Hughes. Now, Coach Hughes, you have given 7 years of your life to this program, 4 as a player, 3 as a coach. What does it mean to you to reach this milestone with a school that you've given so much of your life to?
Gosh, it means everything. I told the team that Tuesday practice after we found out that we were hosting that when I was a player, when I was a freshman, the goal was like making it a big run in the ODAC tournament. And we weren't looking as far as the NCAA tournament first round, let alone the Sweet 16. And so I think it's just incredible to have been with this program every step and through those last 7 years and seeing that, you know, we're really reaching that potential and we're going places we haven't been, like you said. And I told them before the first round game, you know, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. And the NCAA tournament, that was a scary big dream. But I think as a team, as a program, the players, Clancy, we've all been chasing that dream. And to see it come to fruition has been incredibly rewarding.
Now tell me, how are you balancing celebrating those wins, those dreams that you're now accomplishing with staying level-headed, knowing that there are more games to be played this season?
Great question. That's something that I'm actively working on, that balance. I'm very much like next play, next game. We are still on a mission, have things to accomplish, but I really think those moments after the game, after those historic marks, the ODAC tournament, first round win, second round win, like those moments on the court with our family, with the WNL community. I mean, they really showed out. The gym was packed both days, and that was just so cool to see. But those moments are so surreal. You really soak it in with those people that you love and have worked so hard to get this point with, and then you can enjoy it for those that next day. And then Monday we were practicing, and we were after it getting ready for Rhode Island. So I definitely think it is a balance, and I think it's something that down the line we'll look back and we'll really be able to soak it in. But for right now, we still have business to take care of.
Now, Coach, I wish you the best of luck in Rhode Island. I hope you take care of business. And signing off with the Rockbridge Report, I'm Mackenzie Kane.
The Generals will travel to play Rhode Island College tomorrow night at 8 p.m. and look to continue this historic run. The Washington and Lee men's lacrosse team picked up a huge win at home against Denison University, who is the 18th ranked team in the country. Sophomore James Haley scored 2 goals and was also named the ODAC Lacrosse Player of the Week. The Generals face another great team on Saturday when they play 9th ranked Gettysburg. The Washington and Lee men's golf team had a great start to their season as 5 golfers combined to shoot 17 under par at the Savannah Invitational on Monday. This 17 under marks the best 54-hole score ever in program history. The VMI men's basketball team wrapped up their regular season last Saturday with a 12-point loss at home to Wofford. The Keydets will face Eastern Tennessee State University tomorrow night in the first round of their conference tournament, where they'll hope they can have some Cinderella story type run. The VMI women's water polo team ended their West Coast trip with a 17-6 victory over the University of the Redlands. Sadie Smith led the way for the Keydets by scoring 4 goals. VMI is back at home next Friday when they face off against Mount St. Mary's. The men's lacrosse team traveled to Ohio last week and beat Detroit Mercy 15-10. Their next home game is this Saturday against Long Island University. The Rockbridge County High School men's soccer team started their season with a 2-1 win over Allegheny High School. The match was only a scrimmage, but their first regular season game is next Tuesday against Salem High School. That's all for sports. Back to you, Caden.
Thanks, Billy. It's that time of the year when we spring forward. Daylight savings time starts Sunday. During that time, people adjust their clocks forward 1 hour near the start of spring. Even though you lose an hour of sleep, you gain an extra hour of sunlight in the evening. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, a bipartisan bill is being held up in committee that would enable states to permanently switch to daylight saving time. If passed, the switch could take effect in more than 24 states. Currently, nearly a dozen states have legislation in works to switch to a year-round standard time. The official start of spring is March 19th. That's all for the Rockbridge Report. Thanks for watching.
For more local and national news, check out our website rockbridgereport.wlu.edu and join us next Thursday for another half-hour edition of the Rockbridge Report.